All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, and welcome to another session of Meditations with Marigny. And my child decided that he wanted to sit in my office. So if y'all see his little head behind me, that's because he's joined in. But anyway, I wanted to come on for just a moment and I want to talk about the power of corrective criticism. The power of and maybe not just the power of corrective criticism, but the power of receiving corrective criticism. And what made me kind of think about this is that I had a conversation with someone that I love very dearly. And typically we are on the same page and we agree about most things. But I disagreed about something that they said in a way that they feel about a particular thing. And basically, we ended up just having a disagreement. They ended up hanging up the phone in my face. And one of the things that I said to them is that I just text them back and I said, if I just want you to think about if someone agrees with you 90% of the time and they disagree with you 10% of the time, what does that say? This person, they love you, they care for you, that they have your back. And as you all know, my channel is about relationships, love, marriage, divorce, dating now. And I really kind of want to talk about that because on so many levels, people have gotten to the point where we cannot have constructive conversations with one another. And and then, in some relationships, it puts people in a position where they are bound to not even being able to talk to you about certain things. there is it is okay to have a conversation with someone and to disagree with what they say. It is not okay that every time that someone disagrees with you that you have a major problem with it. Like I said, to the point that you got to hang up the phone on somebody. No, when you're right, I'm with you. And we're going to ride all the way until the wheels fall off the car. But when you're wrong, I'm going to say it. I have friends and I have family members that can speak into my life and they can use a point of correction for me. And to be honest with you, I'm open to it from anybody that if I'm in an environment whether it's professional, whether it's personal, whether it is a communal situation, and if I do something wrong or I say something that's wrong, I'm okay with somebody coming to me and say, hey, you did this, da 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 da, you need to correct that. Or you did this, and give me the opportunity to say, hey, I didn't even realize that I did that, and then I do apologize to you. Prime example, one of my friends said something to me about a little comment that I typically make to her. And I could tell by the way that she said, well, why do you always say that? And I could tell by the way she said it that she was offended. And so later on that day, because I told her I was sorry at that time, but later on that day, I sent her a text and I said, hey, I could tell that what I said, it rubbed you the wrong way. I was really just teasing, but if I have offended you, I really want to say that I'm sorry and I won't do that anymore because the friendship is valuable enough to me that I want to make sure that I don't cause anyone any level of offense that I could possibly prevent. And I'm saying that because we have to be in a position, we have gotten to be such a world that anything that someone says to you, it's like, it offends me, this offends me, that offends me, this offends me. We all got a spirit of offense. But at the end of the day, first of all, you need to get some tough skin. And secondly, you need to understand that if you want to improve and become better, you're going to have people that can speak into your life, that can call out the things that are not making you better. And you can't walk in a position where you feel like just because someone speaks against something that you may strongly agree with, that means that they don't love you or they don't care for you or none of those things. But at this stage in my life, and I will say, guys, that as you get older, you find that you will speak out about things more often than what you might have when you were younger. As I get older, I don't have as much time to keep giving somebody to get something right. Either we getting it right or we not. And if we not, that's going to be good with me too. We still going to be good, but we just going to operate in a different way. And I just felt led to come because I will share this with you. You guys know, because I do talk to quite a few men and I do talk to people about relationships. I do get emails and comments about certain things. And one of the main things, ladies, that I hear men complain about is their wives never take ownership and or accountability for the things that they do. Now, I'm not talking about people that are in relationships where, it's really like borderline narcissistic. I always get that word. I'm not talking about those relationships where you're giving and you're the one apologizing. I'm talking about healthy relationships where there is a man that truly loves a woman and he makes the sacrifices that, in my opinion, that most men that love their wives will make. And then when he brings one thing to your attention, it becomes a problem. It becomes a situation where you got to shut down, you got to close up shop, and you sleeping in a different room. And, but then you think about the fact that this man typically gives you 80-90% of whatever it is that you ask for. If you say you want to go on a trip, he makes it happen. If you say that you want a new bag, he makes it happen. You say you want to drive a certain kind of car, he makes it happen. You say you want to live in a certain kind of house, he makes it happen. And then he tells you one time that y'all not going to the furniture store to get new furniture because you just bought new furniture 2 years ago, and ain't nothing wrong with that because ain't nobody sat on it. And you mad because you wanted to do a collective change to the house. Well, you probably should have thought about that when you painted the walls 2 years ago. And that's coming from somebody that I'm super conservative when it comes to how we spend money, I'm not the person to move with the fads. So it definitely won't be me to say, hey, we're gonna do a whole wardrobe change because this is what everybody is wearing now. And I don't have no problem with anybody that does that. I'm just saying that I'm not that girl. And I'm just going to be the girl that if I go in the store, I try on something, I like it, I'm going to buy it. And it doesn't matter to me whether it's a name brand or whether it's a no name brand. But my point is that we cannot continue to operate in relationships where we don't have some level of corrective action before us. As an educator and working in the classroom, one of the things that I see now is that nobody wants anybody to say anything to their kids. Anything that you say, somebody got something to say about it. Oh, you're picking on my child. No teacher gets up out their bed every day and come into those classrooms with what you knew you had at the house, and then you send it to the building to us, and we choose that we want to pick on them. Same thing that child is doing in that classroom, they doing it at the house. They just do it worse in the classroom because you're not there to monitor that component. I don't know how that came all the way out. But I do want you to know that I'm using that example because what I see now is culturally, whereas it used to be that the community could correct your child, now nobody wants anybody to say anything to their children. And they don't want to say anything to them. They don't want to correct them. They don't want to make sure that they're following communal expectations. There are rules and regulations and policies and procedures wherever we go. And you have to follow those communal rules. What if everybody could just drive the speed limit that they wanted to? We would have accidents and all types of situations going on. People already drive. Even though there is a speed limit, people still drive over the speed limit. What if there were no expectations for you stopping at a stop sign or a red light? And I'm just using these as general things. What if there was no communal etiquette for how we handle our hygiene? I mean, like, it has gotten to the point where, like, now black leggings and a bodysuit, a cat suit is the normal wear for people now. In my mind, I be saying, like, sometimes I do run into the store if I just came from the gym or I just finished walking or something like that. But now I'm so conscious of that, and I'm like, man, I need to put on some clothes. And I'm just saying, what happens if we don't have a level of correction in our life. And then I want you to think about this, and I'll close with this part. What is it that would keep you from allowing your person to be trustworthy enough to help you to carve out those places in your life where you're not so great? No matter how wonderful we all think that we all have room for improvement. And if it's coming from my person, if it's coming from, you guys know I declared that I'm getting married next year. And I couldn't do nothing but laugh because I said, well, I ain't even got no man. So it's going to be interesting to see when I come back and tell y'all, bam, there it is. Because I don't even have a guy that I could say that I would even be able to do that with right now. But what I'm going to say is when that guy does come, when he is here, and once you guys do know that that is in my life, you better believe that he's going to be somebody that I'm going to trust to carve out those pieces of me that are not so good, to help me to polish even the more the components of me that are good and that can even still be improved more. And to be honest, I feel like when you in a loving relationship, when you are in a compatible relationship where you both are given to each other, he's given to you, you given to him, and there is a reciprocity in that relationship, it automatically polishes you. It automatically makes you think about that person more. It automatically makes you think about the people around you more. It automatically helps you to improve your communal connection. So that's why it's so important at this age that we choose someone that is going to actually benefit us to the point that we are growing and developing, not just benefiting us from a financial or a physical aspect. So I just want you guys to give thought to that. It made me think about it. And it might be, I mean, this person ain't going nowhere. Like we not finna stop talking forever or nothing like that, but it's probably finna be some distance for a few days. It might be a week where you go to your corner and I'm gonna go to mine over here. And we cannot talk about it, but that doesn't mean that the issue was addressed. And so in marriage and in relationship, and I can tell you this from my own experience, you have to deal with the hard things and you have to find a way to work through those, because when you just push it under the rug, it just festers on one side or the other. Like one person might go on and they forget about it. So the agreement is that we text each other and the person just said that they know what they've done. And I said, that's fine. We don't have to talk about that no more. Now I'm good with it, but I know the other person. And so I know that they're not going to be good with it. That's finna fester. That's going to keep coming and it's going to come back up again. And the difference is it's not going to change my stance on where we are. But if they're open enough to talk about it, then they got to take responsibility for where they are. And I'm not going to back down on that. So in most cases, I would have just taken the low road and said, hey, I'm going to let that go. In this case, and that's one thing about me and people with my type personality. When you are a giving person, if you are in a relationship with somebody, you have to really pay attention to that person that never really complains about anything. You have to pay attention to whether or not that's somebody that don't never say hardly nothing about nothing. They easygoing. They go along with most things. If they have a pushback on something, you need to pay attention to that. And I'm saying that for husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, mamas, daddies, sisters, brothers, cousins, friendships. If you have a friend or somebody in your life that rarely ever has an input on something and they rarely ever push back on most things, and you find something that they're pushing back on, you got to pay attention to that. And so this particular thing, I'm not backing down on. I said what I said. And I got a friend, he always said, get it, got it, good, bye. And so that's what I'm going to say to y'all. If you like the video, I need for you to click like. If you loved it, I would love for you to share it with a friend. And then do me a favor, guys. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers by the end of the year. I think I'm like at 182. So if you don't mind, subscribe or either send my channel to someone that you think would enjoy it. Thank you so much. Bye.